your properties around what you're doing. So the choice is now whether you're part of the conversation or not. So the question is, how can you move from the traditional interactive message to engagement and to be part of the conversation? So widgets and social apps are one of the answers for that. They're basically engagement channels. So you can use that for PR. That's how most digital agencies and most brands started, because it's kind of a communication channel first. Then you can use that for marketing, and hopefully later on already some niche cases for sales. So I found this website where this gentleman collected as many social media marketing examples that he could, and he found about 300. So I put this picture here. Basically, the keyword today, because we don't know what's working, we're not really sure what's working best. The keyword is experiment. And hopefully, we're strong enough to find which ones work and which ones don't, and then focus on what works. So this is, as the last introductory slide, this is an example of a campaign done by Sprint, mobile network operator in the US. They want to push their mobile widget. So they thought about doing this very interesting internet page where you see all the widgets. So it's a bit confusing, but it's an idea of where we could go. Maybe out of those dozens of widgets, maybe only 1, 2, 3 can really make a hit and be popular and be useful to users. And then you can focus on those ones. But you need this level of experiment to really get something going. So I think instead of that, we have a lot more examples.
Thank you. So your basic hypothesis is that in interactive relevance, move to engagement, and these sorts of applications are good for that, but we should still experiment around that.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, widgets and social applications are containers within a larger social media. And today, if you look at the population you have on Facebook, on MySpace, on whatever social network, even in some online games, those are media. They are new media. Facebook is media. When Rupert Murdoch bought MySpace, that's probably what we know. We thought, okay, there's so many people looking at it, it's a media. And now, the chance we have is that those media have some openness, where you can deliver messages in a form that is more engaging and more interesting than just brand or traditional interactive advertising.
Great, thank you. Any panel like to add to any of those comments? So I think that's a very good introduction. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to how should the guys in the room use widgets in the mix, and we're going to start the conversation with Ben G.
So this is a chart that's kind of put together to look at online marketing standpoint. If you have your different marketing channels and where widgets actually may fit into the mix and what you actually do in general. So I see it as a marketer, digital marketer, you're spreading your money across search. I can come in with SEO or SEM. On the portal side, contextual media buys, banner media buys, rich media, email, classified ads. On the desktop, developing applications, and some mobile as well. So some examples being in the search space, different websites, bloggers develop or utilize, I should say, search marketing widgets that can allow them to search their own site. And so that's how they allow a user going to the site to navigate the content. In the portal space, I think that's where most of the PR discussions have been lately, the social media widgets. And on the desktop application widgets and with the mobile, it's picking up a lot of the outdoor widgets. Then what I just put up in the bottom, this is some data from Zenithal Media on their projection for digital spend in Asia in 2009. What you can see is there's a large proportion of spend going into the portal space, and where I'd say digital marketers are finding that money being spent is getting tougher and tougher to look at great ROI, because as users spend more time on social media sites, it's a bit of a challenge in how you actually get a good return or engagement with your brand as you advertise it through straight banners. That's where the widgets are coming up in this way that you can integrate your brand into the mix there. And on the mobile side, there's a lot of VCs now in Silicon Valley, plenty of independent developers who develop the widgets for the
site that he has an RSS feed, 30,000 plus subscribers. And this is back in August 2005 when he was using just organic SEO. He was paid $132,000 US from Google for running
ad sets on his own site. And as you can see, he is covering his face there, but what I noticed is he seems to have gained a bit of weight over the years, living being a happy life in terms of how he's actually monetized his own site. This is more of an opinion leader who has then this following, and then how they're trying to bring more content applications into the site, which is then quite useful to the user. On the portal social media side, found some data from ComScore that looks across the Asia Pacific usage, and this is for quite a recent month. I think this is September 2008. I broke this out across on the left side, some of the social media sites, and on the right side, the blog platforms. Friendster, while there's a lot of talk that it's waned, the reality is actually it has more users still in Asia than Facebook and MySpace. So maybe it doesn't get much PR and hype. The usage, though, is based predominantly in Southeast Asia, markets like Philippines and
Malaysia. Facebook and Windows Space is picking up in traction. Yahoo Japan GeoCities, one of the GeoCities being one of the original social media sites, still has traction in the market. The thing here is, you look at some of the unique audience and add that up in terms of total market penetration. In the U.S., where two sites, Facebook and MySpace, get about 70% market penetration. It takes 13 sites, and when I add it up, there's 13 social media sites in Asia, only amounts to 60% market penetration. So as a regional marketer, if you're trying to develop widgets for a platform, the challenge is each of these have their own developer code base, if they even have a developer API at all. And to get scale across the region is quite difficult. Whereas in the U.S., a bit more of an advanced market in that regard. If you just focus on one or two sites, you get a really good mass penetration. You can't get that yet in Asia. I think that's where agencies have kind of come to the fold in creative marketing, where some of the campaigns are either worthwhile or not. This is another thing I came across. Twilight films spoken out in the U.S. over the weekend. Big fan base. They sold over 10 million books. And on Fandango, what I saw was that Fandango, a movie site, was selling 5 tickets a second last week, leading up to the launch. 600,000 people actually went to go watch the midnight screening. On this Facebook app, the thing here I found is it's not developed by the studio, it's by some independent company who's developed 700 similar apps on Facebook, addicted to and fill the blank of the media property. In their user agreement, what I find they're doing is they're just farming accounts. And over time, they actually may change their business model around and charge users for content. So they seem to be quite a intelligent way to get into Facebook and get users away. But as a brand owner, what's the value there? And the other thing I kind of find is it doesn't tie into commerce at all, where people in the market obviously are trying to go watch this movie, but there was no direct link to a commerce tie-in where I think that should have happened. Some of the start pages, page flakes, net vibes, iGoogle, where a lot of widgets are actually coming into the start page. And on these sites now, you can actually integrate into your webmail onto the site. And there's also a widget on NetVibes where you can actually import your entire Facebook app into NetVibes. And it's kind of another layer of disintermediation. The thing though, if you look at the stats, there's not a lot of traction on these start pages sites. So it may seem like a great thing to do, but in actuality, the number of users actually using this is quite small. And then I find on the desktop side, this is something I was trying out, Last.fm, and they have a couple million users a month in Asia. Skype has tens of millions of users in Asia, 7 million active at any given second. And what Last.fm is able to do is take their platform through a Skype widget and reach to far many more people than they would actually go to the exact site. So they see a business model there through the distribution of the content. And then on the mobile side, this is some stats I saw come out last week from a company called AdMob, and they track they're basically a mobile ad server, and they're looking at page requests. And what's come up now in the last report, this is October data, the iPhone in many markets is actually now the #1 device for accessing web content. And it's soon to overtake some of the Motorola or Nokia devices there. And here what you have is, this is a screenshot of the eBay app on the iPhone.